So won't you take, oh, won't you take me home, take me home.
We are getting ready to take you home as we usher in our final segment of the show. Jersey Joe Archino back here with Soccer Showdown exclusively on the Fantasy Sports Network. But of course, leading off with this one, it did break that Neymar did sign his Barcelona extension. And it's one of those things where we basically had confirmation from Barcelona's president that the deal was going to get done. He was going to sign in the next few days. Neymar took to Instagram and Twitter and said he's very happy to be able to say that he's staying with the club. He's continuing on with them, living his dream. And I don't think it really comes as much to any surprise. They're always the big rumor mill with a guy like Neymar with links to Man United and PSG and even Real Madrid. But I don't think any of us really ever expected him to go anywhere else. And Neymar is smart. Neymar is really on that ascension and on that climb to being soon and maybe one day called the best player in the world. Of course, right now, it's the era of Messi, and then Ronaldo was kind of climbing up there in age, but the two of them are obviously always battling back and forth for supremacy. But I think one day, Neymar, I mean, how young he is going to be the best player in the world soon. I mean, as long as Messi and Ronaldo are still there, it's always going to be theirs. But one day, Neymar is going to be the world's best player. You can just see the way in the way that he plays. I mean, I think the ultimate testament to Neymar's climb and how good he is when Messi was out for 7 to 8 months this past season in La Liga. And normally, if you would have told someone Messi would be out 7 to 8 months, they would have just put Barcelona's chances of doing anything substantially down. But they were fine. I mean, if anything, they thrived, and they were just playing at a different level. And I think if anything good could come from it, it was building Neymar's confidence. Neymar took over La Liga when Messi was out with his injury. He led the league in goals for a long time. Suarez was always there to back him up. But that gave Neymar that immeasurable confidence. And I think, obviously, Neymar still has to grow when it comes to being a leader for his nation. And he's grown frustrated at times in that regard. But he's learning, and learning behind a guy like Lionel Messi, you can't replicate it anywhere. You can't get that learning experience. You can't learn to play and get the touch with the ball like he does. And even when you look at Neymar and the way that he moves with the ball and the way he does so many subtle things, it mimics Messi in almost every single way. But now when we look at the 5-year contract extension he signed, basically he's fixed at $200 million for the first year of the deal, $222 million for the second, and then $250 after that for the 3 remaining years. So not a bad chunk of change for Neymar by any means, but I think you have to look at it in the grand scheme. What does it mean for Barcelona's dominance? You keep the trident together, Suarez, Neymar, and Messi, and it doesn't matter what anyone says. That's the most dangerous trio players there is in the entire world. One of the most formidable trios in the history of the game. It's one thing to have a trident of 3 players like that who are all scorers by nature. And they all are, all of them are. I mean, Suarez, Neymar, and Messi can score and put up goals with anyone. They are as good as it comes. The thing that sets them apart and makes them inherently unique is the fact that they don't always want to score. They are plenty happy to create chances for teammates, to put their teammates in power positions to score. We've seen Messi time after time give up a chance he might have to give Neymar a goal or to give Suarez a goal, and the other two will always return the favor. And it always comes down to the bond between those players, and I think that's why Neymar was never going to leave. He has built such a strong connection with Suarez and with Messi, and I just don't think that he would ever walk away from that. And he's a young guy. He's going to have so many opportunities to make money and to win, and he's already won as much as there is to win at his young age. I mean, he won the treble already, and that says everything. And Barcelona now, after missing out, I mean, last season, it kind of didn't go. It ended badly for them in the Champions League against a very good Atletico Madrid side, but they still hold 2 of their trophies in Copa del Rey, and they win La Liga. I think next season they win Champions League again, and I think sometimes it's so hard. I mean, we haven't seen anyone win back-to-back Champions League titles since AC Milan, so that is a feat to be able to do that. And I do think that after losing that way that they did, they really did have a little bit of a snag in their almost perfect season with their loss to Real Madrid in El Clasico Part 2. They had that loss in the Champions League, but again, they still walk away with 2 major trophies. They win the league, they win Copa del Rey, and that's a successful season. And now that Neymar is back, there's not going to be any rumors about where he's going or if his future at Barcelona is uncertain. His future at Barcelona is insured, and that contract ensures it. And I think more than anything now, with Messi and Suarez and him building on that repertoire, really committing and being as good as it gets, they're only going to continue to improve from here. I think that's the next question that people always ask is, when will he be the best player in the world? And I do think that you give it maybe 6 years, and he's going to, maybe you could say that Neymar is the best player in world football. And I think all you have to do is look at the Ballon d'Or voting last year. I mean, obviously Messi was a runaway for that trophy. It was not even close. Ronaldo behind him, and then Neymar also was a guy up there on the stage, and he deserved to be there for every reason. And he growed so much, and he showed so much to all of us with what he did, stepping up when Messi was out for the 78 months. But speaking of Messi, it obviously hasn't been the best time for him after coming off of the penalty kick fiasco where Argentina loses again in a final, and back-to-back years where they lose on penalty kicks to Chile. And it's one of those things where when you look at Messi, he's obviously a guy who just loves what he does so much and just it's captivated us and won everything there is to win. And of course, the thing that continues to elude him is winning a trophy for his nation. And there's a lot of people who try to knock Messi down, and I think more than anything, his comments after the match where he said that he's basically retiring from playing national team football for Argentina. A lot of people reading into that, and some people doubting if it's true, doubting the legitimacy. I never really have maintained that he will actually retire. It's so emotional. I mean, you look at him, he was devastated. You've heard it from teammates. Sergio Aguero basically said he'd never seen Messi so crushed, Messi shedding tears. I mean, that's such an emotional thing to just walk away from and then speak to. I think you got to give it time. I mean, losing the World Cup, losing Copa America last season, and losing it again this season, that's not easy. That's so taxing on anyone to walk away from that many significant losses, and to always if there's one thing that you say about Argentina fans, it's that they've never appreciated and never given Messi the respect that he deserves. And I think a lot of it is placed in Diego Maradona. People are always going to really listen to him as the voice of God, and this is a guy who really, if that's the person you're looking to for inspiration, for advice, it's very misplaced. He's not a good guy. He's had troubles with drugs, and he's been has shown brutish attitude and just never class. And Messi's always been all class, a man of few words, but a man who has always given it everything that he has. And if he actually does walk away, Argentina fans, I keep on saying Barcelona, Argentina fans have no one to blame but themselves. And it's just the way it is. It's the way that he's been treated, and it's the way that when he's come up short, all the blame has fallen on him. And that's just not fair, because Argentina, the Football Association, has had so many levels of corruption, and they've never been able to have strong leadership in that regard. And all the faults and everything that's gone wrong has always been on Messi, and that's just, again, it's just not fair. Messi had a remarkable run, and I think last season in Copa America he looked very run down, very worn down physically. Because Messi's a guy who plays in every competition there is with Barcelona. He plays in the Champions League. He plays in the Copa del Rey. He plays in La Liga. There's not a lot of chances to catch your breath. And then in the summer, you've got to go and you've got to play in Copa America. When is the time for rest? Well, this season, he was out the 7 to 8 months with the injury, so he obviously didn't have as much fatigue as he did last year, and I thought he looked very sharp. Everyone liked Argentina in this one, myself included, but they didn't get it done. They have a just fault where they cannot finish and close out these matches. They had more opportunities. They were the better team in the matchup, but they couldn't get it done. I think now everyone's question is, when will Messi recover from Argentina's Copa final loss, and will he play again for Argentina? On the second part, I do think that he will eventually. Again, very emotional time. You can't really read too much in anything that he said. It was so just losing the way that he did what he said. Is there some truth to it? I think some has to be, because Messi is a guy, again, he's a man of few words, so every time he does speak, I'm going to listen to what he says carefully, and I'm going to try to buy into it, because he hasn't given me any reason to doubt any of the words, because he's always had sincereness to his words, and he's never really said a lot. So when he does, he's got my attention, but I still think it's such a difficult situation to fully read into because of the emotional implications behind it. So I really don't expect him to fully walk away from it, especially with the next World Cup not being too far off. I mean, 2018, Messi will still be in his prime, and Argentina will still be poised to most likely be favorites to win that thing. But we've just seen right now an inability to finish, and I think if getting a top-class manager in there would certainly help just from a paramount perspective, because, again, if there's one fault with the Argentina Football Association, it's that lack of leadership, and having a strong manager there would certainly cure a lot of their woes, but the pain will be there for a long, long time, and Messi obviously needs to recover from that as well, and nothing is going to change until he has the time that he needs, and I don't think you can really bother him too much at this point. It's just going to come down to personal healing. It's what it is. I mean, he's a very close family guy, and I think that's one of the things that kind of sometimes you look at Messi, and when he's given interviews in the short times that he has, because again, he is a man of few words, he's always kind of portrayed himself as just a normal guy. He goes out there and he plays, and then he likes to spend his time with his family. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we all like to do. And I really do think Messi makes more money than any of us will probably ever make in our whole lives, and has garnished more fame than almost any of us will ever garnish in our whole lives. But he really is not a guy who wants the spotlight. He wants to live his life with his family, and that's just what he is. He goes and he plays, and then he lives his life after that. And I think this is one of those things where he has the response that any of us would have. And for some guys, I think they would be able to brush this off a little bit easier. But for a guy like Messi, who is an everyman, he just is. He's a normal guy. He doesn't speak a lot. He doesn't want the spotlight a lot of times. He just goes out there and plays the game that he loves. And when you have that love and that connection in your heart, and you're crushed losing this way when you let your team down, there's really nothing but time that can heal that. And he has had a lot of support in his corner. I mean, I think the biggest statement there, and I think it's very interesting, is the Argentina Football League basically said that if he doesn't come back, they'll go on strike. And it's one of those things where I don't know how much truth there is to that, but the Argentina fans have just never fully appreciated Messi. They've always listened to Maradona. Maradona has always been the voice of God to them. And anytime he's ever and that's the sad thing is, and you know you're dealing with somebody who's a small man, where he's so threatened by Messi's greatness, and he always wants people to remember the things that he did, that he's always trying to criticize Messi. And Messi's not a guy who deserves any criticism. Argentina is as lucky as it comes to be able to have a player like that. I mean, there's no one else in the world like Messi. Even Ronaldo, who we all consider probably either Messi's equal or the second best player in the world behind him, can't do a lot of the things that Messi can. He's not the willing passer like Messi is. He doesn't create opportunities like Messi does. And more than anything, I just don't think that he is the full package like Messi does. But I think that's enough on that. He will get over it. It will take time. His teammate Neymar is set at Barcelona. And obviously, when you look at this show, we've kind of gone a little bit everywhere. We broke down the Euro 2016, gave you the full rundown of it. If you did miss the first segment, before we do end the show for the day, I will give you my rundown kind of as I said before. I think the match of the quarterfinals that determines who win this whole thing is Germany-Italy. Italy comes into this tournament with doubt. All of us, the analysts, everybody who looked at it, said this is the weakest Italian side in a long, long time, and they just don't have a lot of the pieces and the elements you need to win it. But they have proved all of us wrong. They play with a chip on their shoulder. The match of the tournament will be Germany-Italy. German tactics struggle heavily against Italian tactics, and I do think that Italy finds a way to win that match, and they advance to the finals. They will play France before the finals, but I do think regardless, if they get past the German match, they will win it all. But this has been Soccer Showdown with Jersey Joe Archino on the Fantasy Sports Network. I will see everybody next time.